What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning. It's your boy Mark of Mindful Reality, the channel that covers reality TV from a mental health perspective. I think that we're on I want to say that I heard Julie say day 31 on Thursday. So, by my calculations, that would make us like day 35 today. And there supposedly is 83 days in this year's Big Brother. So, we are about 48 days away from the conclusion of Big Brother. But let's not think about that because I consider the Big Brother season, as far as my channel is concerned, like a family reunion. Because some of y'all, I see you probably after the first 2 weeks, everyone comes back, or as many people as are going to come back comes back. And then we get into the season. Once we get like mid-season, bunch of people are here, and then once we get to the end of the season, 90% of the group leaves. So I get to enjoy this time a little bit. I'm more active on the channel, obviously, and the amount of people that are here is obviously going to also impact the amounts that I'm going to want to be active. I mean, I don't know if content creators are as forthcoming as I am with that, but if I jump on here and there's one or two people and I'm talking to myself, I'm like, I talk to myself anyways, off camera, and it doesn't take work. So, yeah, that's the reason why you see the increase of activity during the Big Brother season, because that's when I have the most activity going on my page, in the chat, etc. Big chatty Cathy. I was gonna say chatty Patty, but Ava said chatty Cathy in the episode, which I had never heard before. I forgot who she was talking about, but she said something about chatty Cathy, and I was like, Ava's different. Wow, that's 2 times in 2 days that you've been the first one on here. And the first time you've been the first one on here before, I guess for you, before 6 o'clock in the morning. That's kind of crazy. So anyways, I woke up, I was looking at my various social media platforms, and I was like, I wonder what went on when I went to sleep, because there was still plenty of conversations going on when I went to sleep. But I was kind of like, the conversations are getting really redundant. So one of the first things that I see is that after Zach finished talking to Morgan and Ashley, who he ended up speaking to both of them about this love triangle, if you could call it that, this love triangle situation that they got going on. He then goes and breaks it all down with Lauren and tells Lauren that he can't trust Ashley because he shared all these different feelings about what was going on with Ashley, and Ashley told Morgan. I'm like, I'm so disappointed that this is what I'm hearing is what was happening overnight with Zach. I need to talk with Zach. I need to tell Zach something about women, because clearly he doesn't understand them. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a guru of understanding all women, but I could tell you, I've been around to know if you have 3 women in one house that you live with 3 women in one house that all have feelings for you in some way, shape, or form, and you talk to one about the other, and the other about the other, and you talk to the other one about the other one, they're all going to talk. That's number one. Number two, even if you say this is the number one woman that I like the most. And then these other ones I'm just going to flirt with, but I can't really go beyond anything with them because I chose this one first. That's not going to sit well with any of them. He's lucky that Lauren is so passive, because she'd be right in that mix of being pissed with him. But she's so passive, I don't even think she necessarily cares like that. But you're playing with fire, sir. And lesson number 3, you're playing the game for $750,000 unless you're Riley. Riley doesn't care about the $750,000. And quite frankly, maybe you don't, because look at what's happening now. Ashley is pretty much targeting you just because of that. Ashley's targeting you because of your whole situation that you got going on with the ladies. She's not saying that directly, but that's an underlying thing as to why you guys have this rift in the first place. Morgan is on the fence with you for the same reasons. And Lauren is just Lauren, but you potentially have lost 2 votes because you're there to play around. It's really as simple as that. Like, I was hoping that overnight Zach would have figured something out and started talking some game and started trying to form numbers and get people on his side. Instead, he was wasting his time talking to somebody who is irrelevant to the man's game. Lauren is irrelevant to his game. I'm just going to say that straight up and down. She has no impact on his game one way or another. Perhaps if they both made it to jury, it's a possibility that he could be a jury vote. But let's say he did. I tend to think that he's smart enough to know that he needs to use his power. But let's just say he did not use his power and he was sitting next to Vinny on the block. Who do you think Lauren's going to vote for, Vinny or him to go home? I'm pretty sure she would sadly vote for Zach to go home over Vinny because Vinny's like her main squeeze. So why are you wasting your time with that conversation with Lauren? Like, he's using this game stuff as a way to have something more to talk about with Lauren. Pretty sure Zach is still a virgin. Well, whether you're a virgin or not, common sense goes a long way. Good morning, Jacob, Ma, Van Hoot, and Cass, because I didn't think so. You are so pretty. Well, thank you for saying I'm so pretty. Appreciate that. Let's see. People are actually up. I feel illegal too. Keanu's the only one still up. Did you just finish a race? Nope. I just went to the gym. And also, I'm going to be out that way. I haven't decided exactly what day, but late September. Let's see. Chocolate, you're up early in the morning. I feel like Keanu is leaving this week. The tides are shifting with Keanu. So if Zach uses his power, and then it happens to be okay, who would be the third? You know what I would love to see, because this is what Rachel has been pushing for. Rachel has been pushing for Morgan to be the replacement nom. So imagine if Zach uses his power, takes himself off the block, then Morgan goes up unexpectedly because Morgan is a crash out waiting to happen. By the way, there's nothing that I love more than being outside, right? In the morning and nobody's here. Like, that's my favorite thing. When I can make myself get up, I love walking through a park that has nobody present. And it's not even super early because I'm always up. I'm always up by 6 o'clock or so. Sometimes earlier than that. It's just the whole getting out of bed part of it is sometimes a problem. So, but when I can get up, this is the best. I actually did about 45 minutes in the gym and looked, and I said I have enough time to walk for probably 30 minutes. And so that's what I'm doing. Oh, we got somebody invading my park. It's all good. Uh, Good to see you out. Pretty reality. You know, there's a time when people said things like that to me where I'd be like, "What you talking about, Willis?" But I don't care. It's a compliment. It's a compliment. All right. I know Chocolate being here is I didn't she said that I'd be going in on her too much, so I was like, you know what? My usual comment that I would have made, I omitted it and decided not to say it. But the light version is Chocolate is in the building at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'll leave it at that. Normally, when I get on here at this time, there's like one person on or nobody, or there's like I see the one and I just talk to myself for 10 minutes and then I turn this off. So I'm genuinely surprised that this many people are on here right now. Hey, Robin. So the other thing I was going to say, Chatty Cathy, Mickey and Morgan have been trying to go around and spread this gospel around about Rachel and Ashley, right? So, okay, you want Rachel out, you want Ashley out, you can't work with them, you don't trust them. Morgan is embellishing the hell out of the argument where she said she was screamed at. You know, we had something like that in my Discord where somebody was allegedly screamed at and it didn't really happen. It was just two opposing views being expressed and the word yelled at was added in there for dramatic effect. And that's really what happened here. Um, that Morgan was allegedly screamed at. She used the word screamed at by Rachel. And I showed y'all that little clip. There was no screaming involved. Was her voice a little louder than usual? Yeah, she was animated for sure, but she wasn't screaming. But anyways, you say things like that to your trusted allies. If you have a small group of people in the house that you trust because you're working with them and they're on your team, cool. Go around, tell them, get them in a room. Hey, I just want to share this information about this thing that Rachel has been saying, or I just want to let you know that I think that we need to get Ashley out the game. But no, these people have this complex about them where they're like, anything I'm thinking and feeling, I have to share with everybody except for the people that I'm talking about. And it's just like, but you don't know, you don't have a pulse, of who they're talking to. So you're sitting in a room with people that you don't know who, if you can trust them, and then you share all this information, and they could go right back to the person that you're talking about, or they could tell somebody else who's connected to the person that you're talking about. And everyone knows everything in this house. And the fact that you're going around and talking to everybody about Rachel is honestly, in my opinion, to Rachel's benefit. If you iced out Rachel like what they did with Sari, and it's like, we're going to turn off the pipeline of information so that you don't know what's going on in the house, as mean as that was, I mean, people like Sari and people like Rachel, the more information that they have is the more opportunity they're going to have to flip the script. And the thing that makes it so stupid to be talking so much about Rachel right now is the fact that Ava is the HOH. So right now, I'm feeling like the people don't have the best grasp of the idea that Rachel has so much influence on Ava. I think that not a lot of people realize that. Maybe Ashley does, because they're kind of aligned, but I don't think that most people realize the grip that she has on Ava. I know that we got that edit on the show about Ava confiding in Will and me, and I know that she likes Will and Mickey, likes working with Will and Mickey. But the first night that she got that HOH, I was watching on the TV. And I was watching the live feeds, on the TV. And the first person that she had in the room after she kicked everyone out, the only person she had in that room with her was Rachel. And the 3 picks that she gave Rachel were the exact 3 picks that she made. So I don't know how they chopped up the timeline, but they made it look in the edit like Rachel was not a part of that, when Rachel was very much a part of that conversation. And Rachel is now, because she has a heads up that Mickey and Mickey and shoot, who's the other one? I was thinking Will, because Will was in the room, but I think there was somebody else. Oh, Mickey and Morgan. That's what I was trying to think of. She kind of has a heads up that Mickey and Morgan are working against her, so now she's trying to get them before they get her, type of thing. And then she's trying to form something also with Keanu. My thoughts on it are that A, wasn't a fight, and B, ooh, I got here while this parking enforcement rolled up. Bye, sir. A, wasn't a fight, and B, I almost want to go in the gym and tell people that this guy is here, but you snooze, you lose, I guess. I don't even know whose cars those are. And I don't even know if they're in the gym. Okay. Did I have my car parked outside the gym, and the parking meter goes into effect at 7, and the code enforcement guy is outside delivering tickets, and I just happened to get out there right before he got out there. I would have been so pissed if I got a ticket at my gym. I get enough tickets as it is. Morgan was so convinced. See, the argument, so the calling it a fight to me is like overstating the hell out of that discussion. People can have differing points of view and it not be a fight. I don't know if everyone thinks of it the same way that I think of it, but like that thing they showed of Rachel and Keanu in the bathroom when they were yelling at each other, to me that was a fight. Like a couple of these Keanu Jimmy interactions, I would call those a fight. This I would just call at best an argument. At best. And the argument was not even a really contentious argument with the screaming that was described, because I watched Rachel go around on Sunday and tell everybody the exact same thing that she told Morgan. She said it to Keanu before. She said it to Will. She said it to, I want to say she said it to Ashley, you know. She was more animated saying it to Morgan than she was to those others, but that's because the others were not reacting as strongly to what she was saying. They were just like, yeah, I get it. You got to know the art. It's an art form to be able to play the game and to hear things that you don't like, but to hold your cards close to the vest about how you feel about those things that were said until you get into a room of people that you trust. Morgan, everything she hears, she has to say. I said this yesterday. Motor mouth. She's never heard a conversation that she doesn't like to be in. Like she has to be speaking to feel comfortable. I can't think of many house guests. Does she have time to reflect? I mean, I always wonder to myself, when do you reflect? Maybe when she goes to bed. But it's like there's so much in that head of hers, so many different things that she's saying, that I'm like, you know, you gotta pause for a little bit sometimes, right? you gotta stop and be like, let me process this information before I talk to somebody else. She'll be like, all right, now I just finished this conversation with Zach. I got to talk to Ashley right now. And then after I'm done with Ashley, I got to run over to Mickey. And then after I talk to Mickey, I got to talk to Rachel. You're not even on the block. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't need to gather information, but you're not even on the block right now. You might have talked your way into being a possibility to go on the block, because you were not in consideration at the beginning of this week. I mean, at the end of last week. Now, Rachel's trying to push for you to be a replacement now. And also, I think that Zach told Lauren about his power, because I was reading some stuff on Big Brother Daily, and I think that what I was reading was that Lauren knows of his thing. I think he told her. I call it Rachel reading Morgan for filth. Real G's move in silence. Morgan could go home this week if Zach uses his power. She could. Possibility. Why is she coming for Ashley? Who knows? I just know that they're all getting in a room and talking about Ashley, and I have to say, I don't know. I don't understand where Will's head is at, because I thought that Will was like like a strong ally to Ashley, but he sits in these rooms where they're trashing her, and he doesn't really defend her too much when they're talking about Ashley is all over the place, and I think that she was the second vote and this and that. We can't trust her. She rubs me the wrong way. This, that, and the other. And he's kind of just like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. Maybe what it is that he gets a pulse that a lot of people want Ashley out. And he's just like, regardless of the fact that she's my ally, I don't want to attach myself to somebody who they want out. But I just don't think that's the way to play the game. If there was something that she was doing specifically, like if Ashley was being nasty to people, or if she had done something that was just so egregious or something to another house guest or other house guests, and they were like, she's got to go because she's just messing up the feng shui in the house, then I'd be like, listen, I get it. I'll be like, I get it, but I just feel like they just don't like her because she's different. She's a little goofy, and I'm not even saying that in an insulting way, believe it or not. She's a little goofy and she's a little quirky. She's she's just Ashley, right? And I feel like they have just not liked her from the beginning. But as I watch her move around the rooms, I find her to be one of the realest people there. I do. I don't really find her to be manipulative. I think that being a liar and manipulating people is very hard for her to try to even attempt to do. Because it seems like she wears her heart on her sleeves a little bit. She's not a gamer. She just, and compared to the other pageant girls, like, I feel like the other pageant girls that we've seen are more calculated than she is. You don't want to have too much emotion. Will's looking out for, yeah, Will. I have felt that Will has been selfish. I have, to be honest with you. Will's kind of a snake. In his mind, being an ally is not contributing to dunks. It seems to me everyone likes Zach. They're scared to evict him. I think that some people are turning on Zach. That's what I've seen in the last couple of days on the feeds. That people are, because a lot of them are talking about, a lot of them seem to think that it's going to be Zach versus Vinny. And a lot of them have said, I'd rather keep Vinny over Zach. Because they're kind of like, Vinny promises a lot of people things and he talks too much, but Zach is here to play Love Island. They don't say that specific thing, but they're like, Zach doesn't talk game to any of us, so we don't even really know where Zach stands in the game. He doesn't want to get on the block again. I actually had a decent read on the game. She still does. I think she still does.
I think Ashley still does. I think Mickey doesn't have a good read on the game, or Morgan. I think that Morgan and Mickey's games are both filled with assumptions, and they love this game of telephone. Telling you, they get so much third and fourth hand information that they take as gospel. It's crazy to me. Did you actually hear the person say that? No. So how are you running around with it like that? Oh, you know what I heard? I heard that this person said this to that one, and I heard that that person said this to this one, and this one said this to that one. Well, it's Big Brother. So I'm going to get as much first-hand information as I can. And I'm going to base it on what they said to me. And even whatever they said to me, I'm not going to take whatever they said to me as gospel because they could be lying to me. So the best kind of information that I can get is directly from the person. And even that, I'm going to question it. I'm not going to say, they're so big with these absolute statements. Will loves this person. This person hates this other person. This person can't stand this one. This one has a great relationship with this one. This one is working with that one. And it's just like, some of those things I would go more off of my observations than I would off of what's being said to me. Because it's a possibility for people to say things and throw you out the scent. I'll tell you, even in my work environments, right? I've had work environments. I always feel like if I have friends at work, it's not always advantageous for everyone to know that those people are my friends. Because let's say the manager is giving us information about something, right? If the manager knows me and Joe are friends and they're trying to get one over on me, they have to give the same information to both of us in the same way because they know that we're going to compare notes. But if they don't know that me and Joe are good friends outside of work, right? Then they're going to tell me the information one way and Joe the information another way. And I've had that happen plenty of times where I hear something, the coworker hears something, we talk about it later. And it's like, oh, well, the boss told me this. And then they're like, well, the boss told me this. And I'm like, gotcha. But you don't know that I got you, but I do got you. Knowledge is power. Vince getting off scot-free. Not necessarily, because of the fact that Vince is on the block, there has now been like many conversations about Vince that there was not before. I mean, yes, people kind of talked about Vince a little bit, but now people are really looking into Vince and seeing where his allegiances lie and comparing the different things he's been saying. So it's like, it's possible that Vince slips through this week when he was for sure the target at the beginning. I mean, he may not have been Ava's target, but based on the conversations that I was listening to, it seemed like he was the primary person that people wanted to vote out at first. So he might slip by. It's possible now. But I think Vince's game going forward with all the crying and all the lying and stuff, I think that he's still going to be looked at the end of this day. Also, you gotta cross reference. 100%. 100% you gotta cross reference. That's a huge deal. You can't just take one person's word for it and then move from there. I just hope Zach uses his power. I was thinking about that yesterday, Robin, and that would be peak drama. That would be peak drama for Zach specifically to use that power, and then it ends up with Morgan on the block instead. That would be peak drama for the week. I would love that. I would love that. And I hate to even say that because of the fact that Morgan is somebody that I drafted on my Big Brother draft. I hate to even say that, but just as a Big Brother fan, if I'm not thinking about the draft, I would love Morgan to end up on this block for all that talking she's been doing, because she's been driving me crazy. Even Ashley and Rachel, I was reading something this morning, like an Ashley quote. She was talking to Rachel, and she's like, Morgan could go 30 minutes of talking just nonstop, and I'm just sitting there, and she's just talking 30 minutes. Doesn't even take a breath. I'm like, I'm glad it's not just me who's noticed this, because that is one intense lady. She is so intense, man. I want to be like, Morgan, chill a little bit. Smile. Have a laugh, you know? She's a lot. She's a lot in that house. She's so much. I have a crazy glare right now. I have a crazy glare. Alright. You got Zach and Morgan. Interesting combo in hindsight. Let me see something. Yeah, there's not enough room. I have to be in what? Less than an hour. That's the other thing about me. I'll be up on time for things and then still not make it on time. Something's wrong with me. Okay. I loved her in the beginning too, but it's like she must got some kind of anxiety, racing thoughts. I mean, the house gives everyone anxiety, I'm sure, but I mean, her anxiety is next level. Morning. Good, and yourself?
Yeah, I'll take um I'll take a bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll. Who's Nikki working with now? I mean, she's working with Will. She's working with Ava. She's working with Riley and Catherine. Yes, I am at a bodega. At the bodega. Yeah. Pepper, no salt, and ketchup, please. At the bodega. 100%. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. The only place where they sell cups of ice. This is a thing over here. This cups. Vince has completely shifted to Lauren. He was already in the final two with Lauren. What do you mean?
Huh? See, little bit.
From Lauren's HOH.
25 and 3. There's 525. Give me 10, give me 475.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing? How's everything? Good? Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I think he's still working with Kelly. I don't think that he. Oops. I don't think that he broke the final two. I just think that that's not the number one person that he's working with. Vince is willing to go anywhere with his final two, to tell you the truth.
Bacon, egg, and cheese. Chicken cutlet. That's yours? Yes. The money, right?
Reminds me of Joseph, Quinn, and Rita. Speaking of Joseph, I can't guarantee you this because it's not my channel. But I jumped on to. It's ready, you said? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Crazy. Honestly, I'm probably the most polite person that ever comes into those spots. Because this is like, I don't want to call it a hood bodega, because this is not the most hood place in the world. However, this is a bodega where a lot of things have gone down. People have died in that bodega, which is the reason why I don't go there in the evening. You only catch me in there first thing in the morning, like now, because there's barely anybody in there. And their etiquette is like, yo, give me a bacon, egg, and cheese. And I'd be in there like on some, hey, can I please order such and such? Thank you. And I realize how much that stands out to people in the area where I live. Because to me, being polite was just a standard. And not just was it a standard, but it was like a standard that I had no choice but to hold. Otherwise, I was going to get smacked up. But out here, that's not a thing. Yo, 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 give me this and this and this. Me being like, can I please have such and such? Thank you. After
To do that. And I remember this one time I was at the airport with my dad, and he I was asking somebody at the airport for how to get to the terminal that we needed to get to, and then they were giving him directions. He says, "Thank you very much" at the end, and like he would always say that when somebody helps him out with something or whatever, and the person says, "You're not from around here, are you?" And at the time, it was like early when we first came to New York, and I didn't know why they were saying that to him. But now, after having been here, shoot, almost 2 decades, I know why they said you're not from around here. Because nobody from around here says things like please and thank you. That's not a thing. Please and thank you in the bodega, anywhere. Morgan and Mickey do not. I do not have hope for them. Well, nah, I just don't. With what I've seen over the past week, I just don't have a lot of hope for them changing how they are. I really don't. I wish I could, because I like Mickey and I have Morgan on my team. So those are two people I wanted to see: Mickey, Morgan, and Rachel all make it to at least 5 together. I wanted to see the three of them make it to at least the final 5 as a group, but they're not. Come on, ladies. Realize that the math is on your side. You don't even have to like each other. The math, in terms of the female to male ratio, is on your side. I forgot who was saying this yesterday. What's her name? I can't think of her name. Shoot, Janice, I believe. You get rid of a man this week, and now you have twice the amount of ladies as men in the house, which means that you have, no matter if you're winning or not, you got the voting power. They're not thinking like that. They're not thinking at all. They're just like, how do I survive until next week? They're playing Big Brother like it's Survivor. That's what's happening right now. They're playing the game of Big Brother like it's Survivor. How do I live to see tomorrow? Um, I'm gonna eat a little bit of this before I get off. Sounds like my grocery store. Yeah. So, funny story about New York. When I first came to New York, sorry, I have too many things in my hand at the same time. Trying to do too many things at once. When I first came to New York, it was a culture shock to me because where I grew up in Canada, it was nothing like New York. First of all, I have a video on my other page, but I grew up in a small rural area. The town that I grew up in, I want to say had less than 10,000 people. I don't know. I'd have to look up. I want to say it had less than 10,000 people in the town, though. It had a few thousand people. And everybody generally, we all knew each other in the neighborhood. And when you walk through the neighborhood, everyone said good morning to each other. Everyone was generally pretty kind to each other. You, of course, always have that one odd neighbor, too, that is isolated and rude or whatever. Whatever. But for the most part, it was a nice neighborhood and everybody was friendly, whatever. I come to New York and this whole like walking past people and not saying anything, I'm not making eye contact and all that stuff was unnatural to me. And then I left New York. Briefly, I left New York in 2011, I think it was, and I moved to Georgia. And I remember my first day in Georgia, not my first day ever in Georgia, but my first day from when I moved to Georgia. I went into this store, which I've talked about a bunch of times. It wasn't, I call it a store, but it's in Georgia, it's just like a regular gas station spot. But we don't have those kind of spots here in New York. Those big gas stations that have everything in them, like it's a gas station, but you can buy all your groceries in there and you can buy all your groceries in there and you can get the milk and you could get your eggs and you could get clothing, have clothing in there. It was like a gas station's Kmart. But when you live over there, for whatever reason, people won't go to those gas station stores unless they're trying to get a snack or something. They'll drive 45 minutes out the way to get to a Target or a Walmart or whatever,
when you have a gas station right there with a store right there that has everything you can find in those other places. I don't know why. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I walked in there because my ex at that time was pumping gas for her car, and then I went in to get like a snack, and went in to get something to eat. And I got a Reese's Pieces, and I got some kind of soda. The person behind me was like, "Oh, my personal favorite is a Twix bar." I thought he was talking to somebody else because I was so conditioned at that point. 5 years in New York at that stage. I just assumed that he wasn't talking to me. Then the guy at the register was like, "Oh, I like to curl up in the fireplace, by the fireplace, and have myself a Mars bar and whatever else he said, chocolate covered raisins, let's say." And I was like, they're both talking to me. This is so strange. Then the next day when I got up, we went for a walk around the neighborhood. People were like, "Good morning. How's your day going today? Beautiful day outside, right? This and that." And they're like with like Southern hospitality. And it's like people say, "Oh yeah, that's because you're a city guy." No, I grew up about 16 years in a country area. Then when I first came to the US, I went to Massachusetts, which is another country area. And then maybe like 6 years after I got here to the US, then I went to New York. New York was my first city experience of my life. And boy, did I have to get used to it. But then my whole point of that is that we're such creatures of habit that I then adjusted to the city to where when I went back to a country area, I had a re-culture shock. I had another culture shock. Um, Amy is the only woman evicted so far. Yes. Yep. Amy is the only woman who's been evicted. Milwaukee is so racially segregated. Yeah. You know what? When I went to school in elementary school, the demographics was like 92% Caucasian, like 2 or 3% African American, 2 or 3% Asian, and like a couple of percentage other. Then when I went to high school, I went to a boarding school. I got to figure out my clothing situation because since I've killed so much time, this is gonna have to be a grab and go type deal. When I was in high school, I was around the most black people I had ever been around in life to that point. That's my whole point of what I was trying to say. And quite honestly, the black people in that boarding school did not like white people. And I was caught in this weird space where I got along with everybody of all the different races, but the black people were basically telling me like, if you hang with them, you're not one of us. So I had to actually hang out with them at separate times, to be honest. And I had never been in that type of position before because I was never around that many black people until high school. And now where I live, it's mostly black people. That's the majority going on here. Okay, 7:58. All right. I'm gonna have to take a power shower and run out the door like the house is on fire. Okay. Let me just make sure that my stain got off my shirt. And no, it didn't. Ah! Okay, I can't wear this shirt. My stain is stuck on the shirt. Not interested, Chocolate, to tell you the truth. Not interested in him being a kettlebell master. I was in California, Sacramento. There's a lot of racist and Muslim people. When I used to live in Danville, VA, as a majority black and Hispanic town. I was one of the few white kids in the school. Then the school goes down. My elementary school is residential, so it's predominantly black. My high school is on the south side, predominantly Latino, and our school is predominantly white. Yeah, we did. We looked at his IG actually before the season started. There was like 5 people that were leaked to be in the house, and he was one of them. Vince was one of them. Ashley was one. Who was the other 2? I went to an HBCU. In our religion, Quran, Allah tell us that no difference between any color or religion. We have to respect any human being. That is a fact. Those are some words to live by. Yo, look at Cass typing out all these names. First of all, you said predominantly 3 times in the same sentence and typed it out 3 times. That's how I feel about all the people that type out you and Ma's name, like Edward. Edward is like, hey bestie, Ma is angry that Twitter hasn't been deleted yet. Hi bestie, Cash Wash Wash. I'm like, y'all are better than me. I'd be throwing in a CWW or a Cass or a Ma and call it a day. There would be no more words than that in my sentence. All right, y'all, I gotta go. Work is slightly more important than this because work pays my bills. But maybe I'll hop on in the car on the way after this 5-minute power shower when I run out the door. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell.